Hey guys, Wade Willis here for my playthrough of Umineko. This is Chapter 3, Part 1. Last episode was pretty insane to say the least. I had both the tea parties where we saw the torture that Beatrice was putting Rosa through, making her eat her siblings because of the horror that they put them through. I did not expect that, even though we did get a little taste that the witches like to eat people. And so that was pretty crazy. Battler came out, showed that he hasn't completely given up, even though he became her furniture for a bit of time. He he straight up bashed her head into a table, which was pretty freaking awesome. And then we had the Witches Tea Party, and now Lambda Delta is getting involved. Pretty. I'm not gonna lie, I was really excited for that because you guys that follow me because of Higurashi, I've been like waiting for Lambda Delta to come into this because a lot of people that's like their favorite character in this series. So I was so excited. She did not disappoint. I did get some Satoko vibes in there, and yeah, let's get into it. Yeah, guys, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be doing this playthrough. Going to try to get through as far as I can until Higurashi Sotsu starts up. And I was a bit delayed this week. I had some stuff. My puppy was sick, so I was with her. So my uploads decreased dramatically this week, but they should be up this following week. I'm going to try to get 2 more of these within the next few days uploaded. So, yeah, guys, let's do it.
姉貴のタバコ嫌いにも参ったもんだな。
すまんな。ゆうべからカリカリしとるんや。気にせんでやってくれんか。
Rudolph and Hideyoshi went out to the deck and took out some cigarettes. Ava had always hated the smell of cigarettes, but when she was in a bad mood, she got even more sensitive to them. When they decided to smoke casually till they reached the island, the two of them got yelled at and chased out onto the deck. Hideyoshi tried to use his lighter, but the strong woods gave him some trouble. Rudolph took out a Zippo with a smooth gesture and let Hideyoshi borrow the flame.
秀吉兄さんはいつ頃からタバコ？
戦後すぐや。最初はタバコを転がしとってな。自分の売り物に手をつけてしまったわけや。
じゃあ姉貴と会った時にはもう吸ってたわけだ。姉貴には随分やめろやめろと言われたでしょう。
Yeah.
わしが聞く耳持たんもんだから、あれももうすっかり諦めよった。
Typical guy.
やはり男は強情でなくてはあかんな。
Hideyoshi laughed heartily, but Rudolph snickered. After being scolded by Ava, they'd escaped to the deck together with their tails between their legs. There was little doubt who had gotten her way in that exchange.
普段はあそこまで短気じゃないんや。いや、普段はもっと温和なおとなしい女なんやで。毎年毎年この日になると人が変わりよるんや。
そうなんですか？俺らがよく知る昔からの姉貴そのものに見えますがね。
そうや。後ろ宮家のエヴァに戻るんや。でもそれはわしと一緒のエヴァとは違うんや。
まあカリカリする気持ちもわかります。今回の親族会議は面倒だ。
そうやな。あのクラウス兄さんから金を脅し取ろうっちゅう計画や。親族会議なんて名ばかりの、これはただの兄弟喧嘩や。
Yeah. Before the family conference, 3 of the siblings had made a secret pact with Pao Kraus. They were all facing urgent situations and needed a lot of money fast. and the only one they could turn to was Kraus, who spoke for the Ushiromiya head now that Kinzo spent his time shut up in his study. For a long time now, they vaguely sensed that Kraus was taking advantage of the fact that Kinzo had lost interest in his own wealth, and they suspected that he started embezzling that wealth to suit his own purposes. Despite being disgusted by this, they turned a blind eye to it while everything was going smoothly for them. But now that they needed money, they really couldn't afford to let it slide. Ava had asked Rudolph and Rosa to form an alliance, and they were now scheming to take that money away from Kraus.
わしも、そしてルドルフ君も社長や。社員の生活を背負っとる身や。
ローザも社長ですよ。ま、道楽ですね。
そうやな、失礼。つまり、わしらは誰もが背負うものを持っとるっちゅうことや。
Rosa's a single mom, too.
俺も幹部連中の前で単価を切った以上、土下座しても、泥をすすってでも、金を引っ張ってこなきゃならない。
お互い様や。わしもわしを信じてついてきてくれた社員たちを裏切れ。それこそクラウス兄さんの首根っこを掴んででも金を引っ張り出さんといかんのや。
Pretty savage.
姉貴は昔っから兄貴とは犬猿だ。その兄貴と全面対決しなくちゃならねえんだから、そりゃカリカリもするだろうよ。
やっぱりエヴァはクラウス兄さんとは昔から仲が悪かったんか？
本人話しませんか？
Oh, I'm intrigued.
そりゃもう盛大に。
昔の話は聞いても話してくれんのや。
I have a feeling there might be something like really horrific that Kraus was doing.
思い出したい話がないんやろな。
姉貴は昔っから容量も良くて頭が良かった。成績も良かった。それに比べ兄貴は盆栽だった。ただそばにいるだけでも十分にプレッシャーだったろうに。兄貴はわざわざそれを誇示して兄貴を追い詰めていた。
アホやな。なんでそない敵外心むき出しで追い詰めるんや。
Yeah, that is kind of silly, but
そういうのは容量がいいとは言わん。
she maybe did it to break him?
確かに。兄貴は女に生まれたことを悔やんでた。だから男というだけの理由で当主を継ぐことが決まっている兄貴が多分許せなかったんだ。
For those of you,
だからことあるごとに自分の方が優秀であると親父に誇示していたっけ。
if like this like part with the family fighting for the inheritance is like really interesting to you, you guys should definitely watch the show Succession. It won a bunch of awards, but it's really freaking good, and I think the second season's even better than the first season, but it's really entertaining. I would check it out.
お父さんは古いタイプのお人や。男女には差別的な価値観を持っとった。自己顕示の強いエヴァは少々嫌われてたんとちゃうか？
To me, at this point of all the siblings, I actually like Ava maybe the least, but that may change as we go.
女の学力は紅茶の砂糖にも似ていると思わないかね。
What?
ないのも味気ないが、過ぎれば紅茶の味わいを大いに損なう。
Maybe I take that back. Since he could still drink black tea without sugar, he was in fact saying that there was no need for women to study. Those infuriating words were what Nissan had hurled at me in my despair, when I asked to go to college only to be denied by my father. I protested that I needed to build up proper dignity and an education as the oldest daughter in the Ushiromiya family, making college an essential next step. But when it came down to it, Father and Ni's answers were exactly the same. How conceited for a woman. I've never taken the Ushiromiya name lightly, not once since I was born into it, and I've been more careful not to take my father's name, Ushiromiya Kinza, lightly. Our family is an old one, with many traditions, but it lost its wealth and businesses in the Great Kanto earthquake, pushing it to the brink at one point. That was when Father took control with his ingenious talent, reviving it to be even greater than it had before. Not once did I forget that I was a daughter of that great Ushiromiya Kinzo. That's why I always made an effort to become worthy of that name. I need a dignity worthy of the Ushiromiya family, schooling, manners, and leadership. Even if I couldn't quite reach Father's level, I deepened my knowledge in economics and finance, trying to improve myself so I could be of use to him at any time. However, in the end, Father never acknowledged my efforts. To Father, a woman was only meant to support a man, and nothing further than that was permissible. When was it that I came to understand that? It may have been as early as my childhood years. But I was going to have to wait until I grew up before I could truly accept it. Compared to me, you couldn't have said that Kraus, my older brother of 2 years, worked hard at all to become deserving of the Ushiromiya family name. He told me many times since my early childhood that he would naturally succeed Father simply because he was born a man. He kept on repeating that as though it formed some uncrossable gap between us. I couldn't stand it, even though I always got better grades than Nissan, even though I became class president when he never managed more than vice president. Even so, Nissan was considered to be the appropriate successor to the Ushiromiya family just because he was a man. Of course, you could find gender discrimination everywhere in those days, yeah. Because I'm assuming when this conversation was going on, it was probably the 60s, since this is in the 80s. So, I mean, I can only imagine what it was like in Japan at that time. No, it was even considered a virtue in that era. During that despicable time, people said that when a woman is born, she obeys her parents, when she gets married, she obeys her husband, and when she gets old, she obeys her children. Wow, what the... But that was exactly why I wanted to turn that on its head. Innocently, I tried to keep trying to prove that I was the most fit. However, I eventually realized that all of my efforts had been doomed from the beginning.
女の学力は紅茶の砂糖にも似ていると思わないか。
That sugar in black tea is...
ないのも味気ないが、過ぎれば紅茶の味わいを大いに損なう。
それはどういう意味よ、兄さん。
男には男にしか務められないことがあるように、女とて女にしか務められないことがあるんじゃないかね。子を産み育て、一家の主を支えるのは、女でなければできぬ務めだと思うがね。
I changed my mind. Kraus is my least favorite now.
女には勉強や仕事をする必要がないと言いたいの？
そこまでは言わんよ。無学な女など話していても疲れるだけだ。
Oh my god.
だが、あまり頭が良すぎる女はもっと疲れる。
Yo, my man.
お前のように自己主張の激しい女では、未来の夫もさぞや苦労すると思うのだね。
女は結婚して夫の陰にいろとそう言いたいの？
Yeah, that's basically what he's saying.
余計なお世話よ。
お前が親父殿を尊敬していて、その娘としてふさわしくありたいと思う気持ちは、我が妹ながら見上げたものだよ。
Yeah, Kraus sounds really
私に
entitled
も
here.
尊敬できることだ。
気持ち悪い。何が私よ。この間まで俺だったくせに。もう投手気取りなの？
So, what I'm seeing right now is that each of these first 4 chapters, I'm guessing that Ava is going to be the one that of the siblings that lives longer this time. Because the first one, it was, oh, I guess Kraus died. It was Natsui. Maybe they'll have each of the wives? I don't know what they're doing, but it seems like now we're focusing on Ava, which is kind of interesting to me because they did this with Rosa last time. So, could be pretty significant. I think they did some with Natsui the one before, but I don't know.
当主は私が継ぐことに最初から決まっている。にもかかわらず、お前は自分も当主になれるかのように錯覚して、無駄かつ暴走した努力をしているに過ぎんのだよ。
暴走した努力ですって。私が大学院に進みたいと言い出すのがそんなにもおかしいっていうの？
She's just asking to go to college at this point.
ああ、おかしいね。お前は確かに栄光ある後宮家の長女だよ。やがてはその家紋を背負って、父にとって最も価値ある相手と婚約することになるだろう。だが、そこで求められるのは過剰な学識ではない。
Yeah, but in theory, she could meet some really well-connected, like, someone who's moving forward in life at college, right?
夫をいたわる優しい気持ちと家事能力、そして一家の長を立てる控えめな態度だ。
Oof.
お前にはそれが完全に欠落している。それは後宮家の令嬢として果たしてふさわしいことなのかね。
私は真相の令嬢のつもりなんかないわよ。お父様の仕事を手伝ってあげられる最高の人間でありたいと思っただけよ。
ならそれは後宮家令嬢としてふさわしくあるべきではないのかね。お前ときたらなんだね。いい年をして未だに男勝りで、家事炊事はおろか、男を喜ばせる化粧一つ身につけていないじゃないか。
I feel like 99% of Kraus saying this is because he's threatened by her too.
最近は喧嘩の稽古までしてると言うじゃないか。
Oh.
失礼な。喧嘩じゃないわよ。武道は心の修練に最適なのよ。それに、叱るべき場に出るときは十分女として気を使ってるわよ。何が言いたいのよ。女は男に仕える奴隷であれと、しゃしゃり出るなと、そう言いたいわけ？
それを認めるのはエレガントではないが、お前の勘違いを正すには、少々毒のある言葉も必要かと思うよ。だから言い切ろう。女は男に仕えるために存在する。そして男は女を養うために存在する。女の仕事は男の背中を守り、家庭を守って子を育てることだ。それは本来、言葉で気づかされることではない。おのずと気づくことだ。しかしお前はいくつになってもそれを自覚しなかったな。だから社会に出る前に兄である私がその誤解を解くのだよ。感謝してほしいものだね。
He says all that and
そ
then
れは
tells her
全て
that,
の女
that
への
she
侮
should
辱よ。
thank him. Oh my god.
いいえ。私は自分のことを女だと思ったことなどないし、女だからと甘えたことなど一度もない。私のどこが兄さんに劣っているというの？成績も経歴も何もかも私の方が勝っていて、ただ男である以上の何も持たない兄さんが私の何を見下せるっていうのよ。
I mean, she's spitting facts here.
身の程をわきまえているか否かだよ。私は次の当主としての心構えを日々養っている。それは将来必ず必要になることだ。だがお前は違う。嫁ぎ、後宮の席を失うことが決まっているくせに、見る何がそんなに不満なんだ。仮に男に生まれようとも、当主を継ぐのはお前ではないだろうに。お前は何がそんなにも不満で私に突っかかってくるのか。
何が不満かですって？兄さんはいつも 自分は当主跡継ぎだからと私を見下して、そのくせ
What's my complaint, you say? I've got a billion of them. Grudges, hard feelings, humiliations that I'll never forget keep floating through the back of my mind. They'll all build up at the same time, coming out of my throat as the shameful moan.
何事か想像し、
Uh-oh.
沈黙を尊ぶのは神だけではないぞ。
お父さん。
お父様。
He probably overheard her sibling fight. Father entered with a clearly unhappy face.
クラウス、また兄弟喧嘩か。お前にはなぜに弟や妹たちを率いる貫禄が宿らぬのか。情けない。長男が聞いては切れるぞ。
In a flash, he struck Krause's face. I readied myself to be struck in the same way, but I wasn't hit.
申し訳ありません、お父さん。
お前に足りぬのは貫禄だけではない。まだまだ足りぬ。何もかもが未熟だ。
Yeah.
にもかかわらず一人前を気取っておる。それを語るには100年早いことを肝に銘じ、研鑽に努めよ。わしをこれ以上息子の不出来で嘆かせるでないぞ。
はい、お父さんの後を継ぐにふさわしい人間になれるようさらに努力します。
It was as if those words were directed at me. Even when he was being yelled at by father, he was still bragging to me about how he was so special. About how he was the successor. I just couldn't stand it. I finally spoke what was on my mind. Even though I realized it would be improper for a member of the Ushiromiya family to do such a
お
thing.
父様、教えてください。私の何が劣っているというのですか？
Oof. I don't want to hear this
私は
answer.
お父様の名に恥じない人間になれるよう、今日まであらゆる勉強と努力を重ねてまいりました。どうか私にも何が劣っているのかお教えください。私はこれ以上何を身につけたならお父様に認めていただけるのですか？
またその話か。お前には何と言えばわかるのだ。
Alright. 100% chance he says because she's a
お
woman.
前に期待していることなどの女は女らしく料理や裁縫を
Cook
学
and
んでおればいい。貴様には女の心構えがないのだ。夫に仕えようとする気心が男に尽くそうという海外しさが全く感じられぬ。何のための女なのか。
I'm just gonna say I don't think Beatrice agrees with him.
後ろ宮家の令嬢であることを自覚しておるのか。なのに学びたがることは男の真似事ばかり。お前の役割はクラウスの真似事ではないのだぞ。お前には自らの役割が分かっているのか。
See, now the family would be in better hands if Kinzo actually was like, he wouldn't even have to be like progressive, just like not thinking like this. And like, yeah, you could go to college, and if you show yourself as like superior to your brother, you could take over the family. But he's stuck in his ways and has to have, it's between Kraus, Rudolph, and really Ava's husband, who doesn't, he's skilled and stuff, but kind of a pushover a bit. So
私は後ろ宮家の人間としてお父様の名に恥ずかしくない。
I knew she was gonna...
その時点でもう間違っておるわ。貴様の役割は家を出て嫁ぎ、わしにとって有益な男を連れてくることだ。
Oof.
そして夫に尽くし子を産み増やせ。夫の一族に褒めたたえられる良妻であれ。お前に男を喜ばせる何ができるというのか。茶の作法があるというのか。 料理の才能があるというのか？何もない。お前がやっているのはみんなクラウスの真似事ばかりではないか。
Thing is, you can't really call it mimic when you outperform the person, but
後宮家はクラウスが継ぐ。お前がそれに不満を唱えるというのなら、それはこの私に逆らうということだ。お前は我が娘でありながら父の言うことを聞けぬというのか。出て行け。感動だ。お前に後宮など語らせん。感動だ、感動だ。
that was a bit of a overreaction, to say the least.
落ち着いてください。源氏さん、水を持ってきてもらえますか？
はい、ただいま。
エヴァ、席を外せ。本心ではないさ。私がなだめておく。
Sounds like he's the black
感
one.
動だ。私の言うことが危険なら感動だ。
How'd this guy live like another, like, 18 years? Father was coughing pretty badly, and Nissan patted his back, as if it was a duty that was naturally his. It was so vexing for me to let him take that duty all for himself right then. Yeah, last person I want to pat their back is the guy who just tells me I'm disinherited because I want to go to college. If I carelessly approached Father at that moment, then I would probably be the next one to get hit. However, I fearlessly tried to approach Father's back. Genji blocked me.
エヴァ様、今は席をお外しになられた方が良いでしょう。
Genji's like the most rational human
親
being
方様
here.
は今日はご機嫌がよくありません。
なぜに私の息子たちはこうも不出来なのか。クラウスは貫禄が足りず、エヴァはいつまでたってもじゃじゃ馬だ。男らしい男はおらず、女らしい女もいない。私の育て方がいつどこでどう、なぜだ源氏。
Where
私
is
は
their...
何をいつどこでどう間違
I'm
えたと
curious
い
if
う
we're
の
ever
か。
gonna meet their actual mom.
親方様は何もお間違いになってはおりません。
Of course he says that.
クラウス様はたくましいご子息に、エヴァ様は麗しいご令嬢に成長されました。何もお間違いにはなっておりません。
あれのどこが麗しいというのか。淑女どころか男の感動だ、感動だ。
お父さん、それは私から
Oh my
よくエヴ
god,
ァに
you
言い
shut
聞
the
か
hell
せた
up,
ところ
dude.
です。エヴァもこれからは心を入れ替えてレディーとして振る舞うと約束してくれました。どうかもう少しの猶予をいただけませんか。
Well, that was actually kind of nice.
何がレディーだ。感動だ、感動だ。
Go quickly and leave this to me. Krause gave me a look telling me that. Huh. Did I take the wrong path just like father and niece, son said? True, I never studied how to be a lady. Everything I learned was done in the hopes that I could help father someday. But is that really true? Is she going to come across Beatrice here? I wouldn't be surprised. Haven't I always been trying to compete with Nissan, with whom I've had a bad relationship with since I was a young girl, because I wanted to steal his position as successor and show him a thing or two? Every chance he gets, Nissan tells me that men should be manly and women should be womanly. I've been tormented by this unfair discrimination just because of my gender, something people are born with and can't do anything about. I resisted, endeavoring to this very day to study and prove that I'm not inferior despite being a woman. But that doesn't mean my love of learning comes entirely from a stupid complex that I've got from Nissan. Father wanted me to become a lady who could go out in public and not be embarrassed. Did I betray his hopes, earning good grades and threatening Nissan just to satisfy a childhood resentment?
違うわ。私が後宮家の跡継ぎになるんだって、あなたは私に誓ったわ。
Who the hell is this?
あんたは。
The one whispering to me was the me of my years as a young girl, born inside my heart on the day I made that oath. That's right. She was my only ally. When things got difficult, I felt like I was about to get crushed by it all. She would always quietly appear and support me. When I ran into roadblocks and despaired, she always appeared and supported me. When I grew up and memories of my childhood faded, I also started to forget my conversations with her.
私、後宮エヴァは絶対に後宮家の当主になるの。そして、あのムカつく高慢ちきなクラウスを見返してやるの。そのために一緒に頑張ろうって、あの日私たちは約束したわ。そうね。約束したわ。私は後宮家の当主後継ぎになるってあの日にね。
I have a feeling this might be some spirit thing and not actually her imagination. On that day when I had been overcome with sadness, wondering why I was even alive, you appeared from inside me and led me astray.
お父様に認められたかった。兄さんの鼻を明かしてやりたかった。そうすれば惨めな自分に決別ができると信じていたわ。
For a time I truly believed that my life had no purpose other than to be looked down upon by Nissan. It's painful just remembering those days. They're a wound, a crack inside my heart. She taught me how to sew up that wound. I turned my anger into effort and improved myself, trying to become a person more worthy of the headship than Kraus was. Trying to triumph over him by making Father accept me. It was my perfect revenge. I was vaguely aware that a woman couldn't possibly become a family head, but I thought that maybe if I could prove myself valuable enough to overturn that premise, then surely even Father would select me to be a successor. If that happened, then I'd be able to have the greatest and most perfect revenge against Nissan, who always acted like his succession to the headship was completely inevitable.
そうすれば私たちの心の傷は癒えるの。その日まで頑張ろうって誓い合ったわ。なのに、あなたはその約束を破るの？クズ、育児なし、へそかんで死んじゃえば？
Even though she looked like me as a kid, she was still another me. Her tongue was sharp because it was mine.
自分に言われても腹が立つわね。そこまでボロクソに言われる筋合いはないわ。ならばその怒りを勉強に費やしましょうよ。怒りを力に変えるのが私の魔法。この力で何度もあなたの窮地を救い、あなたはなせないはずのことを成し遂げてきた。私の魔法がある限り、あなたにできないことなどありはしないわ。そうね。怒りはいつも私の原動力だったわ。いつからそれを忘れてしまったのかしら。
I'm actually writing notes this time, guys. I know someone, I'm trying to remember, someone called me out because I wasn't doing notes when I said I would. Okay, I'm gonna see if there's...
私を思い出せたなら、あの魔法の力は再び私たちのもの。さあ、その怒りを力に変えて、もっともっと勉強に励みましょう。きっと私たちにはまだまだ勉強が足りないのよ。大学院に進んでもっといっぱい勉強して優れた成績を出してクラウスを追い詰めてやりましょう。あいつなんでもなさそうな顔してるけど、きっと心は相当追い詰められてるわ。 早く身の程を思い知って死んじゃえばいいのに。そうすれば私たちが当主になれる。ルドルフは辞退してくれるわ。あの子は私には逆らえないもの。よして、もうこれ以上勉強してもお父様は私を認めてくれないのよ。
Who cares?
どうして？お父様は私に女らしくしろと言っているのよ。私がどれだけ頑張ろうと、女である限り、たとえ私が兄さんより先に生まれていたとしても、私に当主を譲ることはないのよ。私がどれだけ努力を重ねようとも、私は女以上の何者にもなれない。認められない。何の努力もしない兄さんを超えられない。永遠に見下され続ける。お父様もクラウスも最低の男尊主義者だわ。早く死んじゃえばいいのに。
She cursed them for my sake. Words that I couldn't say so easily, she said for me. Even though I understand that she's just another part of myself inside of me, I feel like she's the only ally I have who can sympathize with me. However, while sympathy might do a lot to calm my heart, it won't do anything to improve my current situation. In the end, she can only console me for however long it takes me to be dejected by reality before I finally accept it.
ありがとう。もう結構よ。こうとなったら、お父様が驚くような淑女になってやるわ。兄さんなんかとは比べ物にならない立派な男を探して。ダメ、そんなの。
She rejected my timid thoughts. I understand. Because she is me, I understand.
お父様は少なくとも今は女に当主を継がせないと言っている。でもそれすらも所詮はお父様が決めたルールでしかないの。お父様が決めた以上、それを破棄できるのもお父様。
Yeah, I don't think that wasn't even a law, right?
人の気持ちなど、浜のマサゴが尽きるよりはるかに早く変わるわ。クラウスが愚鈍な男であることは、私たちが立証しなくても、やがてお父様も理解する。その時、男女の境のくだらない垣根は、それを設けたお父様によって取り払われるの。
I actually agree with her
その日は
analysis.
必ず来るわ。どうして必ずなんて言えるのよ。
Because Kraus is such a dipshit.
それが私の魔法だから。あなたが信じてくれさえすれば、この魔法は必ず奇跡を呼ぶの。私の魔法の源は、あなたの信じる心だけ。
If I use this magic, then surely I'll never have to doubt until the day I die that I'll eventually become the head. But I don't know if that's the right thing for Ushiromiya Eva. Maybe I should aim to become the kind of lady Father wants. Someone who can proudly and participate in high society. And if I'm reborn, maybe Father will change his opinion of me. Maybe I can find my own lifestyle just as Nissan found his. And anyway, I just can't imagine my stubborn father choosing a woman like me as the head. I can't either. Especially if it means skipping over Kraus.
信じないの？あのね、私思ったの。私には当主は告げないかもしれないけれど、私は女で子を産むことができるわ。そして兄さんには未だ縁談もない。
Now you're using your
もし兄さん
intelligence.
に子供ができず、私だけが子供を産めたなら、兄さんの次の当主は私の子供ということになるでしょ？それはつまり、私が兄さんから当主の座を奪うのと同じ意味にならないかしら。
It does.
本気で言ってるの？ええ、本気よ。少女時代からの決意を捨てるのは確かにとても悲しいこと。私の少女時代そのものであるあなたを裏切るのは、でも、それが一番現実的なのよ。
I don't disagree with any of Ava's.
夢を捨てるの？そして私も捨てるの？
Well, this girl is definitely
捨
coming
てるん
back.
じゃない。私も大人になって、 あなたと決別する日が来たということよ。そうね。エヴァはもう大人になったわ。魔法の使い方さえ忘れてしまった。今は一児の母。自ら夢を叶える魔法を忘れ去って、その夢を息子に押し付けている。自らの人生をお父様やクラウスによってめちゃくちゃにされたくせに、あなたもそれが大人というものなの？ジョージはどこに出しても恥ずかしくない自慢の息子よ。私には叶えられなかった夢を、ジョージなら叶えられるかもしれない。ジェシカなんて成績も貧困も不良じゃない。それに女なのよ。ジェシカさえ辞退してくれれば、ジョージが後継ぎになることだって。
Even saying it was painful. Am I just forcing my own regrets onto George? Yes. It's not like I have a right to look on Jessica with scorn. Wasn't I just horrible for hitting her with the same words that had caused me so much suffering? I understand. The desire to triumph over my brother is part of my own personal revenge. I can't use George for that.
だから、私自らが復讐するわ。ルドルフとローザを味方に、兄さんから金をせしめようという計画があるの。きっと一矢報いることができるわ。何しろ、兄さんがお父様の資産をつまみ食いしているのは確かなんだから。
I mean, we've heard them talk about this, but we have yet to see actual proof of it. Though, based on how Krause is, I'm fairly certain he is doing something shady.
つまんない計画。そんなのさっさとやめて、泣き寝入りでもしちゃえば？私たちは、後ろ宮家の当主になるの。その夢をごまかさないで。だから絶対に叶えられると私を信じて。私の魔法を信じて。信じたら魔法は力を持つのかしら。うん。私の魔法はどんな願いも必ず叶えるの。
There we go, guys. Huh. So this is Lambda Delta coming in. I'm like 100% sure.
信じるわ。信じるから。その魔法で奇跡を起こして。そうでなくちゃ。私の心の傷は永久に癒されない。うん。なら、よく聞いて。私の魔法の言葉。そしてそれを理解して。謎が解けたなら、私たちは後ろ宮家の当主になれるの。だから、耳を澄ましてよく聞いて。
Behold the sweet fish river running through my beloved hometown. You who seek the golden land, follow its path downstream in search of the key.
エヴァ姉さん、そろそろ着くみたいですよ。
When Kyrie shook her shoulders, Ava jumped awoke from her doze.
ごめんなさいね。寝ぼけてたわ。驚かせてしまってごめんなさいね。
エヴァおばさん、ぐっすりでしたね。朝はだいぶ早かったんすか？
まあね。恥ずかしいところを見せちゃったわ。ごめんなさい。
眠れるくらい余裕があるのは大したもんだぜ。バートラなんかずっと落ちるーったの、沈むーったの。まったく退屈しないやつだぜ。
人間誰しも苦手の一つや二つくらいあるもんだぜ。
That's important. Battler and Jessica came in messing around. Rudolph also made a face as if asking, Are you okay?
しっかりしろよ。親父たちの顔を見れば眠気もすっ飛ぶさ。
Okay, Rudolph.
せいぜいお互い頑張ろうぜ。
そうね。特に今年はしっかりしないとね。
だな。お互い、ケツの穴を引き締めて
Let's
かか
all
りますよ。
tighten our assholes and go. Rudolph said these strict words with a small voice that only Ava could hear. Failure would not be tolerated in this year's family conference. All of their companies were hanging in the balance. Even Rudolph's face looked a little tense. Ava's expression probably looked tense as well.
母さん、荷物を持つよ。甲板に上がろう。
ありがとう。ジョージは本当に気が利くわね。
Yeah, he is a good kid.
どうして急にお礼なんか。母さんらしくもない。
エヴァ、ジョージ、到着やで。荷物をまとめるんや。
こらマリア、転ぶから走るのをやめなさい。
It seemed Maria was already getting excited. She ran circles around Hideyoshi, escaping from Rosa, who was trying to catch her.
どうしたの母さん。具合悪いの？
ジョージ、荷物を持って先に行ってなさい。母さんは貧血だろ。わしが肩を貸すわ。
そう。わかったよ。先に行ってるよ。
Something odd in Ava's expression told Hideyoshi that it hadn't been in a pleasant awakening, so he made George go on ahead. Rose's family, Rudolph's family, and Rose's family also went up ahead on the deck, leaving only Ava and Hideyoshi inside of the boat. Ava had a vague expression on her face as though she hadn't been able to escape from her daydream.
どないしたんや。神妙な顔して。
私、ジョージを自分の復讐の道具にしてたんじゃないかしら。私の、兄さんに対する子供じみた敵対心のせいで、あの子の人生を自分のおもちゃにしてしまってはいないかしら。ああ、私はなんてこと、なんてことを。
I did not expect her to change like this, especially so quickly.
ジョージはどこに出しても恥ずかしゅうないわしらの自慢の息子や。仮にエヴァの思惑が多少混じっとったとしても、結果オーライっちゅうもんやないか。エヴァはなんも悪うない。むしろジョージは厳しくしつけてくれたと感謝しとるくらいやで。
本当に
Yeah, he doesn't have any animosity towards her. At least that's what it seemed like the first two chapters.
ジョージは私のこと嫌な母さんだと思ってないかしら。ねえねえねえ。
そんなこと、ただの一度も口にしたことあらへんで。エヴァの杞憂や。
秀吉様。皆様、下船なさっておりますよ。おや、何か落とし物ですか？お手伝いしましょうか？
Kumasawa had come to check on them when they hadn't gone up to the deck. Hideyoshi hid Ava behind his back so that her expression wouldn't be seen.
ああ、すまんな。ちょっとわしのネクタイピンがいかれてもうてな。もう大丈夫や。すぐ行くで。外で待っててや。
そうですか。それでは、表でお待ちいたしておりま
She
す。
probably thinks they're trying to get a quickie in. Even though she didn't really understand, Kumasawa realized that something had come up and disappeared so that she didn't trouble them further. If they'd stayed here any longer, they would probably make everyone else worried too.
そろそろ行こうか。ジョージたちを心配させてまうで。
私、本当にジョージに恨まれてない？
ああ、恨まれてなんかあらへん。むしろ感謝しとるぞ。
Yeah, I actually get the vibe that he is appreciative.
悪い夢でうなされたんか、また。
Hideyoshi knew that Ava was often tormented by nightmares, and they always grew more marked on the days leading up to the family conference. Hideyoshi knew that Ava's relationship with Krause was still full of antagonism to the point of being traumatic, and that she still couldn't let go of the feelings she'd had as a child.
それは夢や。わしが一緒にいる。こうして手をギュッと握っとったら、そんな夢もどっか行ってしまうで。な、ほら。
They are actually really cute together.
痛いわ。ありがとう。
He's like super supportive of her, and vice versa. Whereas like Krause with Natsui's like a ride or die chick, and Krause is just a pretentious dick that if he actually had Natsui do more, his life, everything would go better. Seems pretty competent and is very supportive, but that's just my thoughts so far.
降りましょう。
ああ、降りようか。みんな待たせてるで。
ごめんなさい。
ん？
さっき、あなたのタバコの煙のこと、怒鳴ってごめんなさい。
Oh.
普段ならそんなことで謝らんくせに。悪い夢見た後のお前は気弱でいかん。気にするなや。お前に煙が届いていることを気づかんかったわしが悪いんや。
私のこと嫌いになった？
ならんならん。この程度で嫌いなんて言うとったら3日もたんで。ささ、たったたった。折れるで、折れるで。
秀吉様、
Oh
エ
my
ヴァ様。
gosh. Actually, I like this guy a lot better after chapter 2.
大丈夫ですか？お体が優れませんか？
This time it was Goda. It looked like they kept everyone waiting too long after all. Even Ava had to stand up without grumbling now. She had to stop forcing her bad mood onto her husband and causing him any more trouble. Because that wasn't something a good wife would do.
大丈夫ですか？体調が気になられるようでしたら、南條先生をお呼びしましょうか。
ありがとう。ちょっと貧血気味でね。もう大丈夫よ。
婦人病中やっちゃ。気にせんといてや。
This guy's such a dork.
もう、そんなの人に言わないでよ。恥ずかしいわ。
おお、すまんすまん。
Ava elbowed Hideyoshi in the gut. By that time, her normal expression returned, which allowed Hideyoshi to relax a little. The bright sunlight outside almost made her dizzy. A small plank for getting off the boat was lowered, and Goto was waiting there, smiling, ready to lend them a hand.
どうぞエヴァ様。お手を。
ありがとう。
六軒島へようこそいら。
お帰りなさい。
Oops. What the? What? When she left the boat, it seemed to Ava as though she heard the voice of her young self. No, it hadn't seemed that way. Someone had told her welcome back. After becoming a shameless adult, the voice of her young self was distant.
私 私は何のために生きてるの？何をどうすれば私はこの猛襲から解き放たれるというの？
Hideyoshi heard her talking to herself. When Hideyoshi held on tightly to Ava's shoulders, his firmness alone told her that there was no need to say anymore. Maybe it was because the typhoon was getting closer. The lively cries of the seagulls, which usually greeted them when they arrived, couldn't be heard at all. Okay, skip it forward a bit.
6年前のことか。何しろ、6年って言ったら、小学校丸々一つ分じゃねえか。覚えてろってのが酷な話だぜ。
そうだね。特に若かった僕たちにとっては、大きな成長の6年間だったはずだからね。案外、自己紹介がなかったら思い出せなかったんじゃないかい？
そうかな。私はバトラだってすぐに分かったぜ。口を聞いてさらに確信できたぜ。
マリア、初めて会った。6年前わかんない。
そうですよね。マリア様はまだ3つでしたものね。
それを言われたら俺もだぜ。3歳の頃しか知らないマリアが、こんなに大きく成長してるんだから、そりゃわからねえわけだぜ。
After lunch, we had all gone out to the beach to walk around, talk, and take it easy. Our parents were apparently having a suspicious, complicated discussion, so we ended up leaving them behind. Well, just as I guessed from the start, the conversation focused on me since I had been away for 6 years.
しかし、本当に背が伸びたね。僕も低いつもりはないけど、とにかくその身長には驚いたよ。
そうですね。6年前のバトラ様をよく覚えておりますが、それでも驚くくらいでした。
だなぁ。6年前のバトラからは想像がつかないくらいだったぜ。
みんな、案外6年も前のことなんか覚えてるもんだな。俺なんかかなり記憶があやふやだってのによ。
だろうな。私たちのことを思い出すのに少し時間をかけてたみたいだもんな。あれはちょっと傷つくぜ。
いや、さすがに6年前だぜ。覚えてろって方が無理があるぜ。
6年前のことですと、あまり覚えてはおられないのですか？私はつい昨日のことのように鮮明に覚えておりますが。
シャノンは記憶力がいいからね。6年前にバトラ君がどんなことをしていたとか言っていたとかよく覚えてるんじゃないかい？
そういやそうだよな。シャノンって妙なところで記憶力がいいんだよな。
マリア、覚えるの下手くそ。楽しいことはスイスイ覚えるけど、つまんないのは全然ダメ。
We all laughed, saying that everyone was like that.
シャノン、ちなみに6年前のバトラはどんなだったんだ？何かエピソードを覚えてないのかよ。
そうですね。確か、お帰りの際はこうおっしゃっていました。また来るぜ。See you again。きっと白馬にまたがって迎えに来るぜ。
ギャーダメー恥ずかしい
That sounds like Battler.
言いそう言いそう。
That's-
確かにそんな感じだった。6年前のバトラはそんな感じのバカっぽいセリフばかり言ってたぜ。
確かに、当時のバトラ君がいかにも言いそうだな。
おー、恥ずかしい恥ずかしい
ああ、
Him
最
crying.
高に恥ずかしいぜ。マリアもきっと、中学くらいになったら、そういう恥ずかしいことが口にしたくなるからな。そういう時は、口に出す前に、チラシの裏に書いて、3度読み直してから、口にすべきかどうか考えるんだぞ。じゃねえと、きっと後悔するからな。
That's actually not a bad strategy.
いや、誰しもがそういう痛々しい時代をくぐり抜けていくのだ。そうさ。そして身の程を知り、恥を覚えて大人になるんだ。そうさ。これは大人への過渡期なら、誰もが犯す青春の甘酸っぱくて恥ずかしい消し去りたい記憶なんだ。うわーぐわー
After all, this was stuff I'd let slip without thinking, so I didn't remember the words exactly. But now that those words were being recited to me, they were as embarrassing as hell. I only recently came to understand this weakness, and I was working hard to avoid such careless outbursts, but I guess I was just born with the habit of speaking without thinking, and there's nothing I could do about it.
じゃあの、他にも何か恥ずかしいことは覚えてないのかよ。
ええ、まあ、他にもいろいろと覚えておりますけれど、その、ご本人もお忘れになりたいことみたいなので、これ以上は
Oh, come on,
遠慮させて
Shannon.
いただきたいと思います。
ぶっちゃけると、俺はもう何も覚えてないんだ。頼むから、思い出させないでくれ。
おー、シャノンがバトラーをいじめてる。おー、ダメ、いじめはいけないの。
別にいじめてるわけじゃないんだよ。この話はこれくらいにしようか。でもシャノン、後でバトラ君のいないところでこっそり教えてね。
Oh yeah.
なんだか面白そうだから。
はい、かしこまりました。
そりゃねえぜ、シャノンちゃんよ。
For a while, George laughed at me as though warming up for a while, when Shannon would tell him about more of my embarrassing misspeaks. George looked like he was flirting with Shannon, but he seemed somewhat open and frank about it. He was always that way with his cousins, but he usually took on a reserved, gentlemanly attitude when he came in contact with his servants. When I thought about it, I got a feeling he was being a bit overly friendly, which seemed strange. Maria started scribbling in the sand with a stick, and George and Shannon joined in. This left me and Jessica off to the side, so I asked her secretively.
よー、ジェシカ。ジョージの兄貴ってさ、シャノンちゃんと付き合ってたりする？
おお何なんでわかったんだよ。バトラお前、見かけより人を見てんな。
俺、冗談で言ったつもりだったんだけど、本当に付き合ってん。
声が大きいって。一応内緒の付き合いってことらしいぜ。特にエヴァおばさんの耳には入れない方がいいよ。
なるほど。
Yeah, Aunt Ava would not be a fan.
使用人との恋か。いや、でも、いつの間にはぁ、6年ってすげえな。でも、確かに兄貴なら人間もできてるし、シャノンちゃんも優しくて海外しそうだし、お似合いかもな。
I actually think they're a really good match. Actually, 6 years ago, I remember taking notice of her just a little bit. I see. She really fits well with George. Nothing I can do about that. Goodbye, my fleeting first love of 6 years ago. Which means that the collection of embarrassing lines Shannon had just held back on probably had something to do with that. I can't take it.
兄貴たち、付き合ってどのくらいになるんだ？
どの段階から付き合ってると呼ぶのかにもよるだろうけど、確実に1年以上は続いてると思うぜ。双方片思い時代を含めると数年になるんじゃねえのかな。
Before I realized it, the two of them had separated themselves from the group and were walking down the beach talking about something. They looked calm, and rather a light relationship between the two lovers. It looked like a more serious one, as though they were already engaged.
6年か。でっけえ月日だな。俺にとってのこの6年は何だったんだ？図体がでかくなっただけだな。親父との親子喧嘩で意地を張り合ううちに6年も経っちまったってだけ。
バートラの方こそどうなんだよ。彼女とかできたのかよ。
Hell no. Well, Beatrice.
さて、どうだろう。一緒に遊ぶ女の子は何人かいるぜ。だけど、オンリーワンって関係はまだねえな。俺がお子様なんだろうよ。誰かと二人っきりでいるより、みんな大勢でワイワイやってる方が楽しいように思えるんだ。
そりゃなんともバトラらしいぜ。でも、女友達との関係はちゃんとしっかりしておけよ。女の思い込みとコミュニティは怖えぜ。勝手にバトラをめぐって暗闘が繰り広げられて、勝手に誰かが泣いたり傷ついたりしているかもしれないぜ。
She is 100% correct there.
おかしいな。同じ忠告をつい先週、クラスの女から受けた気がするぜ。なんだってんだろうな。
You're an idiot, that's what it is.
どうしてみんなで楽しく過ごせねえんだ。そうまでしてつがいになりたいのかね。
バートラがまだそういう相手に会ったことがねえからだろうぜ。まあ、おいおいそういう女に出会うこともあるだろうよ。気長に待つこったな。
なんだよ。まるでお前にはもうそういう相手がいるみたいな言い方じゃねえかよ。お前はどうなんだよ。彼氏とかできたのかよ。
え？私かよ。いや、
なんつうわかりやすい反応だよ。見たところ、気になる男はいるけど、まだ告白もできてねえって、そういうところだろ。
いや、そういうわけでは。
Oh, it is definitely that. Yeah, so I wonder if in this timeline, this stuff with her and Cannon also happened again.
先生、私のことなんかどうでもいいだろ。
話を振ってきたのはそっちのくせに、なんで俺が逆ギレされなきゃならねえんだ。女って生き物は質問ばかりで、そのくせ自分が質問に答えることは決してないんだよな。ずるい生き物だぜ。まったく。
もう告白はさ、一度はしたんだよ。まあ盛大に空振りでさ。
ごめんなさいってか。
いや、まあ私がすごく一方的だったんで面食らわれたというのかな。そういう対象だとも思われてなかったという雰囲気。
そりゃあそうだろうよ。 お前の言葉遣いは男勝りだからな。もうちょいおしとやかにしないと、男心をくすぐらないぜ。
いや、やっぱり、私みたいな言葉遣いじゃ、受け悪いかな。
I guarantee you Battler brings up how big her boobs are, though.
まあ、言葉遣いが全てじゃないだろうが、お前みたいな普段の言葉遣いが悪い奴が、急にまともな言葉で話すように努力し始めたら、そういう気概みたいなもんで、ドキッときちまう男もいるかもな。
そうなんだ。
I don't think he's wrong.
そうか。
Jessica suddenly started talking more meekly, and then her face instantly went slightly red. I see. Even though her confession didn't go well, it looks like she still hasn't given up. But still, I get it. After seeing how close George and Shannon have gotten, I also kind of want to find a girlfriend. 6 years. 6 years of puberty are pretty important, and they went by pretty fast. As the typhoon approached, the clouds grew steadily grayer, but even so, I had this really refreshing feeling. Maybe I'll try thinking more seriously about the opposite sex, more than just the size of their boobs.
ところで、ジョージの兄貴は使用人のシャノンちゃんと付き合ってるわけだが、まさか、ジェシカまでってことはないよな。
She's gonna turn red. Man, that was smart of him.
どうしてそう思うんだよ。
そういや、バラ庭園で挨拶したカノン君って若い子。口下手だからって、ジェシカ、やたらとかばってたよな。
いや、そんなことは。
Yeah, could you be more obvious, Jessica?
勘ぐりすぎだって。
じゃあさ、これだけは教えろよ。今、この瞬間、ジェシカが狙ってる男は、半径1キロ以内にいるか？
いや、それはどうだろう。
What a horrible liar. Kanaku was the only boy on this island now who could possibly become her boyfriend. So judging by her reaction, I was right on. I didn't think of the Ushiromiya family as a noble family, but love with a servant? I wouldn't have dreamed that 2 pairs of Romeo and Juliet would be right next to me. Aunt Ava would probably become an obstacle to George and Shannon's love. If Aunt Ava ever learned that Shannon was the partner of her only beloved son, she'd probably scream at her for trying to steal away her precious George. And a relationship between Jessica and Cannon would probably be just as full of difficulties. Aunt Natsu is also very strict about that kind of thing. After all, Jessica's husband would probably become the head of the Ushiromiya family in the future. If that person had once been a servant working for the family, well, things could get complicated.
ま、人の恋路なんてそれぞれさ。一緒にいて楽しい相手とつがいになりゃいいじゃねえか。つがいってのは、互いが互いを認め合う以外に、何の許可もいりやしない。親がどうこう、家がどうこうなんて気にしたら負けだぜ。それを忘れるなよ。半端な気持ちで付き合うんじゃねえぜ。
恋もしたことねえくせに達観したようなことを言いやがって。
恋は損得感情でするなよ。ハートでしろよ。
Okay, Battler.
俺が言いたいことはそんだけさ。
Where did you read that?
See you again. Have a nice day.
That was great.
ジョージ兄さん、シャーノン、聞いて聞いて。パートだったらこいつまた面白いセリフを言い出したぜ。
何も言ってないって何も言ってないって。ああ、茶化すな茶化すな。
リア聞いてた、マリア聞いてた。 See you again! See you again!
For a while we forgot that the wind was getting stronger and played around on the beach. I grew a lot these past 6 years, and being able to celebrate my youth and meet with all my cousins was truly refreshing. It was a bit late now, but I realized that I should have gotten back together with everyone a lot sooner and returned to the Ushiromiya family.
いとこ同士ってのもたまにはいいもんだな。
マリアもいとこで集まるの楽しくて好き。
そうだな。俺たちももういい年なんだ。別に親がいなくても会えるだろう。たまにはいとこだけで集まって遊ぶのも悪くないかもしれないな。
それはいい提案だね。いつかそういう機会を設けてもいいかもしれないね。
同感だね。私たちいとこはいつまでもずっと仲良しがいいよ。
Forever in loops.
おいおい、そこを強調するとまるで普段の親戚同士の仲が悪いように聞こえちまう
It's
ぜ。
gonna like flash to the family members talking. The brothers and sisters. George and Jessica laughed, but it just felt a little strained. Did I say something wrong? Judging by how our parents made quiet expressions and tired faces every once in a while during the boat ride and at the airport, maybe I should have kept that to myself.
そうだな。ジェシカの言う通りだぜ。俺たちはいつまでも仲良しでいようぜ。
マリアも一緒。みんな仲良し。
そうだね。うん。僕たちはいつだってみんな一緒だ。みんな仲良しだよ。
私たち何恥ずかしいこと言い合ってんだろうな。なんだか照れちまうぜ。
でも、とても大切なことだと思いますよ。人は願わねば、いつまでも一緒にいることどころか、仲良くいることさえ難しい生き物なのですから。
そうだね。みんなが仲良くいられることを決して当たり前なことだと思ってはいけないね。
知り合いの魔女が言ってた。幸せはみんなが信じなくちゃ叶わないんだって。
確かにね。信じる力には魔法が宿るかもしれない。それを全員が信じたなら、きっと幸せを運んできてくれるだろうね。
よし。なら恥ずかしいことのついでだ。私たちはみんなで信じ合うと誓おうぜ。みんないつまでも仲良しで、いつまでも幸せでいようって。
Okay, this may create some magic. Like hell we'll end up like our parents, as if we'd ever search for each other's weaknesses going after grandfather's fortune.
俺たちはみんないつまでも仲良しで幸せだ。それをみんなで信じようぜ。
No matter how much we cousins tried nostalgically to have fun, dark clouds continue to approach Rokunjima. I wonder if the typhoon will pass and let us see the clear skies before we leave this island. Who cares about what our parents are planning? Who cares about the inheritance and the honor of our old family? As youthful as we were renewing our old friendship. And we all believed together that we could find happiness. That's why I want these pair of days to end. Without anything weird happening. Well, that is in peace and happiness and calmly. No, I don't want them. I don't just want them to end. Please let them end. Oh yeah, here we go. My girl.
くそー！お前は出るなよ！現れるなよ！くそくそくそー！
待たせたな。ようやく新しいゲームの用意が整ったぞ。 さあさあ始めようではないか。惨劇の物語を。訪れよ、雨よ、風よ、台風よ。この島をうつしおより切り離す。異界へ魔界へ幻想界へ六軒島を放り込め。
Oh, damn. And so the tale repeated for the third time. However, to an endless witch, what did it matter whether it was the first, second, or third time? It probably didn't matter at all. After all, this was a tale of fantasy, endlessly repeating until a match was settled. Would Battler surrender first, or would the witch? Then the sky grew dark and cloudy, and the rain and wind were summoned together and became a typhoon. Maria could be seen in the rose garden paying no mind to the rain that had started falling, going around in circles, searching for that single rose that should have been marked.
ない目印をつけたマリアのバラがない。
Well, Maria definitely remembered it. That rose had been in the flower bed right here, and yet it wasn't there anymore. She didn't know what to do with her irritation at not being able to find something that should have been there. And moaning bitterly, she couldn't help but keep going back and forth in circles around the same spot. She was acting as though she'd been able to see it if she looked at a different angle. But even though she did that, there was no way to find something that wasn't there. Is Beatrice going to have that rose or something? The wind grew increasingly strong, and the rain turned into cold, large drops. There was no way even Maria would fail to notice this. However, if she couldn't find her rose, it would surely disappear forever. Maria believed that. That feeling spurred her on to keep searching for a rose that she had no chance of finding. Just then, the cold drops of rain tormenting Maria were suddenly blocked. Maria raised her head. When she did, she saw an umbrella there protecting her from the rain. And the one holding the umbrella was, of course, the witch she admired, Beatrice.
このような雨の中、何を必死になっているのやら。体を冷やせば風邪をひくこともあろう。魔女たる自らの健康も気遣いたいものよね。
マリアのね、バラが見つからないの。何度探してもね、ここにあったはずなのに見つからないの。
Maria told Beatrice about how there had been a slightly unhealthy, pitiful rose, and that she was sure she had marked it.
ほうほう、それが見つからぬと。そなたも魔女の見習いならば、魔法にてバラを探してみるとよい。目だけで探そうとするうちは、それにははるかに及ばぬであろうね。
マリアも頑張って魔法で探そうとしてるけど見つけられない。
魔法の修行にはちょうど良いかとも思うが、この風雨はそなたには少しきつかろう。わらわが特別に力を貸してやる。弟子の身を案ずるのも師匠の役割だからね。
ありがとう、ベアトリーチェ。
Maria's face, which had been full of sadness until just now, split open into a grin. Maria knew. She knew that there was nothing Beatrice's magic couldn't do. So she was sure that Beatrice would be able to find the rose easily, even though Maria couldn't. Beatrice closed her eyes lightly, acting as though she was listening for something with all this rain and wind. Then she heard it, opened her eyes and spoke.
諸行無常よの。 残念だな、マリア。この風雨にそなたのバラは耐えられなかったらしい。
それじゃマリアのバラは
風雨に散り、すでにこの世のものではない。
What Beatrice had said was quite reasonable. There was nothing odd about the flower being broken off at the stem in this strong wind. However, Maria couldn't accept this and bitterly gave a low-pitched moan.
やだ。やだやだやだ。マリアのバラなの。マリアのバラが帰ってこないと嫌だ。マリアの魔法で生き返らせる。ベアトリーチェ、魔法でバラを蘇らせるのを教えて。
無限の魔法の秘術。そなたごとき見習いにはまだまだ早いわ。
Absurdly early.
身の程を知れ。
Maria wiped the tears from her eyes full of regret. Beatrice shrugged her shoulders and chuckled at Maria's pitiful expression.
よかろう。バラを蘇らせる秘術。わらわが力を貸してやろうぞ。
本当？
Wow.
ではそなたの心の力を集中させるがいい。目を閉じ、雨を忘れ、風を忘れ、航行するバラの魂を心の目で探すのだ。
Is this gonna end up being like the vase thing, I bet? Maria closed her eyes. Then she repeated Beatrice's song-like words.
さあ、思い出してごらんなさい。
さあさあ、思い出してごらんなさい。バラよ、そなたがどんな姿をしていたのか。
見るの、聞くの、そして信じる。肉の檻に閉じ込められし魂の力を解放する。そう、よいぜ。
Around Maria, who was concentrating her power, her eyes tightly shut, small golden butterflies began to dance. Was this the manifestation of the magical power Maria held?
さまよえしバラの魂、今一度集う。そしてその姿を思い出すがいい。さあさあ集えよ。思い出せよ。
The glitter of the gold butterflies began to strengthen, and their numbers increased. Then Beatrice raised a finger up to the skies, and they began to gather at the tip of that finger. This was the miracle of the golden magic. The gold butterflies began to condense into a single dazzling grain of gold. It was a single glittering gold seed. It rode on the tip of Beatrice's finger, budded into a golden sprout, and opened into a golden leaf, and then slowly fell from that fingertip, sank into the mud of the flower bed, and began to grow steadily. Maria, who admired magic and the witch, really wanted to see this fantastical sight. However, as an apprentice, Maria was still not qualified to see it. No, she probably was afraid that if she opened her eyes to look, the power that she had concentrated in her heart would be cut off, and the magic would be lost. Therefore, Beatrice, as the only one permitted to witness this golden miracle, was the only witch, the sole master of many miracles. Then, the fully grown rose bloomed, creating one golden flower. And when Beatrice poked it with her finger in just the right way, the gold-colored spark scattered, just as if golden soap bottle had popped, and what remained was a single beautiful rose.
立派な花を思い出したようだな。だがこのままでは他のバラたちに混じってしまい 区別がつかなくなってしまうというのに、もう一つサービスしておくか。
Beatrice, for the sake of her cute apprentice who was moaning even more now in concentration, decided to use one more bit of magic. When she snapped her fingers, a single gold butterfly appeared, fluttered around, and landed on the flower that had just been revived. Then it suddenly burst open and disappeared, becoming a gold lace and marking the rose.
これでよかろう。マリア、もう目を開けてもよいぞ。
おお、バラはどこ？ない。
そっちではないぞ、こっちだ。ほら、金モールで印をつけておいてやったぞ。
はあ、本当だ。すごい。ベアト、ありがとう。マリアも早く魔女になりたい。ベアトみたいな大魔女になりたい。
なれるとも。かつてのわらわもまた、そなたのように無邪気にそれを望み、至ったのだ。
Maria was ecstatic over the revived rose, clapping her hands and jumping around in joy. Watching that, Beatrice also smiled, looking fairly pleased. By now, I can break and repair any soul if I try, not just that of a rose, and kill and revive as I pleased. Come the barrier of the storm has now sailed Rokujima off from the natural world. Now is the time for the Golden Witch Beatrice to descend as an endless witch. Okay, I'm gonna save here, guys. Yeah, I mean, pretty decent episode. A lot of building up stuff with Ava, who honestly I did not really expect them to get into her in this episode. But now I'm kind of seeing a bit of a I can't think of what I'm trying to say there, but and the one thing, Ava's inner self welcomed her, or she thinks she has this memory. Maybe it was, I have a feeling it maybe never was a memory, and it's just Lambda Delta like inserting herself into this to mess with things, because she did say certainty, I believe, her inner self, and talking about magic and all of that. So I have a feeling that it might be Lambda Delta getting involved, and that's how she's inserting herself, but I could be wrong. But let me know what you guys thought about the episode in the comments.